The morning began with a strange silence unfamiliar to Tom. He was used to the hum of the old fan near his bed and the soft rattle of pipes in the wall. Instead, he opened his eyes to a cool breeze that carried an unfamiliar scent like silver rain. He sat up and realized he was not in his room. A chamber of pale stone stretched around him, glowing softly as if holding the light of dawn within its walls. Confusion surged through him as he tried to remember the last thing before waking. He recalled lying down alone after a long day at work. Everything after that was blank dot when he swung his legs over the side of the bed. He saw the floor marked with elegant patterns that pulsed faintly. They were not carved, but seemed grown into the stone itself. He felt a faint warmth when he placed his feet upon them. He took a step, and the patterns brightened. It surprised him enough that he almost stepped back onto the bed. Before he could think of another reaction, the door at the far side of the room dissolved into a curtain of light. A figure stepped through it with calm grace. She stood tall with soft blue skin and eyes that reflected light like clear water. Her hair fell like strands of living silver. She wore ornate robes that shimmered like woven starlight. Tom froze as she approached with slow, measured steps. She stopped a short distance away and bowed her head. The gesture, though small, radiated authority. "You are awake at last," she said in a clear, steady voice. "I am Lyra, Empress of the Argent Court." Tom stared. The words slid into his mind, without effort, though her mouth shaped sounds unlike any language he knew. Something in the room translated for him with gentle precision. "That is great," he managed. "But I think there has been some mistake. I should not be here. I went to sleep at home." Lyra studied him with quiet thoughtfulness. She lifted a hand, and the air shimmered. A screen of light appeared beside her, showing symbols he did not understand. She brushed the symbols aside, and the surface shifted to reveal an image of him lying still in this same chamber. His heart rate appeared next to it in shining lines. "You were brought through a breach between worlds," she said. "The rift opened above the crystal hall during a storm. You fell through unconscious and injured. We healed you. The breach closed behind you." Tom frowned. "So I am stuck here. For now," she said. "But that is not the part you must hear next." She stepped closer, and her expression soft in a way that carried both formality and something gentler beneath it. "In the customs of the Argent Court, one who is rescued by the Empress during a breach becomes bound to her for life. The act of giving healing life binds two fates. According to our law, you are now joined to me as my consort." Tom blinked several times. "Joined how?" "Married," she said without hesitation. Tom sat back on the edge of the bed. His breath caught as the weight of her words sank in. He had gone to sleep alone in a small room on a quiet night. Now he woke in a palace made of glowing stone and learned he was somehow married to an alien ruler. Lyra watched him carefully. "If you fear this bond, we can seek a council to interpret the law in light of your origin. But until they rule, you must remain beside me." Tom shook his head slowly. "I do not know what to feel. You saved me. That means something. But I do not know your world or your customs." "You will learn," she said, "and I will guide you." She turned toward the door of light. "Come, the palace must meet you." Tom followed her because there was little choice. Yet curiosity replaced part of his fear as they stepped into a corridor lined with towering glass pillars. They resonated softly as though whispering in distant tones. Light traveled through them like drifting water. He noticed figures in the distance, each with blue skin and silver hair, but with small variations in color and shape. They paused when they saw him, then bowed toward Lyra. A young attendant approached and bowed. "My Empress, shall preparations for the binding walk begin?" Lyra nodded. "Yes, we will proceed at once." Tom raised a hand. "What is the binding walk?" Lyra turned to him. "It is the ceremony that presents you to the court. It affirms that you are under my protection and part of my house. Do not fear. You will not be harmed." He did not feel reassured, but he followed them through corridors that opened into a grand hall. The ceiling showed a shifting sky of pale violet clouds, though they were underground. The walls shimmered with crystal veins that hummed with subtle power. Crowds gathered on both sides. They wore robes of varied colors that marked different ranks dot as Tom walked beside Lyra. The room brightened, and a deep chord echoed from the pillars above. It resonated through him like a distant memory. The crowd's voices rose in a unified chant that carried a sense of respect rather than fear. He glanced at Lyra, who walked with measured dignity. Her eyes held calm pride. At the center of the hall, a circular platform rose. Lyra stepped onto it and motioned for Tom to do the same. When he joined her, she placed her palm lightly on his shoulder. Her touch carried a warmth that traveled down his arm. "People of the Argent Court," she said, "this is Tom of the distant world. By the law of the breach, he is bound to me. He stands under my protection. Honor him as you honor me." The hall filled with sound as the audience bowed deeply. Tom felt a strange pressure around him, like air shifting. The symbols etched into the platform glowed, then faded. The ceremony ended with a harmonious tone. Afterward, Lyra led him through a quieter corridor. She moved with less formality, now that they were away from the crowd. Tom walked beside her, trying to understand the mixture of awe and disbelief running through him. "Your people seem respectful," he said. "They worry more than you know," she replied. "Our empire has faced storms from beyond the stars. A stranger from another world brings questions and hope in equal measure." Tom nodded. "I am nobody special." Lyra looked at him with a hint of a smile. "We will see." They entered a garden enclosed by clear walls that looked out into a sky of swirling clouds. Strange plants grew with glowing petals and spiraling leaves. A gentle breeze drifted through. There was no visible opening. Tom walked beside a path of pale stone and brushed, his fingers across a flower that glowed softly at his touch. Lyra stood near him and observed. "You adapt quickly." "I am trying," he said. "It is not easy, but I cannot panic every minute." She tilted her head as if studying his resilience. "Humans seem strong in ways not seen in my world." Tom shrugged. "We break easily, but we keep going." They walked together until they reached a stone bench. Lyra gestured for him to sit. She took a place beside him, though, with dignified posture. "I must ask," Tom said. "This bond, does it mean we must live as a couple?" "I mean in every way." Lyra shook her head gently. "Our bond is ceremonial and political until both choose more. It would be dishonorable to force closeness. You are free to learn and choose with time." Relief washed through him. "Thank you." She turned her gaze toward the glowing garden. "You may find this world welcoming, but there are factions who fear change. Some may see you as a threat to old traditions." Tom rubbed his forehead. "That is a lot to place on someone who fell through a hole in the sky. But fate rarely asks permission," she said. Days passed and Tom grew accustomed to life in the Argent Court. He learned that the palace was both a home and a living structure shaped by energy that flowed through the planet's core. Lyra showed him rooms where scholars studied star maps drawn in drifting light. She introduced him to advisors who spoke with cautious curiosity. Some greeted him with warmth, while others kept a formal distance. Though he was an outsider, he found himself drawn to the quiet resolve in Lyra's manner. She ruled with strength and grace, yet carried the weight of her people with constant awareness. He saw moments when she allowed herself small sighs of exhaustion when no court member watched. She shared stories of her world's struggles with cosmic storms that once fractured continents. Her people survived by adapting, and uniting. Tom offered stories of Earth in exchange. Lyra listened with genuine interest, especially when he described the stubborn courage humans displayed in crisis. She seemed fascinated by the concept of a world with countless nations shaping their own futures. One evening they walked along a balcony, overlooking the glowing plains below the palace. Winds carried shimmering trails of dust that danced like drifting fireflies. Tom rested his arms on the railing and inhaled the cool air. "I think I am starting to feel less lost," he said. "That pleases me," Lyra replied. "You bring a steadiness I did not expect." Tom glanced at her. "I did not expect any of this. But I am grateful you helped me rather than treat me as a threat." "You fell from the storm," she said. "It is said that those carried by storms bear purpose." Tom smiled. "That is poetic." Lyra allowed a faint smile in return. "Perhaps." As they stood there, a pulse of light flickered across the plain. A faint rumble followed. Lyra tensed. "That was not natural," she said. A moment later a guard approached in haste. "My Empress, a breach has opened near the outer ridge. Energy readings match those that brought the human here." Lyra turned to Tom. "Another breach could mean another traveler or something far more dangerous." Tom felt a tightening in his chest. "We should check it." "You would go toward the danger," she said with a mixture of surprise and approval. "Where I come from, we face problems head on," he replied. She nodded. "Then you will stand with me." They boarded a transport crafted of silver metal shaped like flowing water. It lifted from the balcony and carried them across the playa.